welcome to the Halftime Team Talk podcast, where a bunch of school friends talk about football and generally talk nonsense. With me today, I've got Falvey.
Hello.
Johnson.
Hello.
Fryer.
Hello there.
CB.
Hiya.
And Tom.
Hiya.
How are we all doing? We all okay? Yeah. Where do you think we should start? Should we start with the United Liverpool game?
Yeah, why
If
not?
we have to.
So obviously, me being a Liverpool fan, quite disappointing. Not the best result, but yeah, I don't really know where to start, to be honest. What do you want to say, Johnson?
I think we probably should just let the Man United fans gloat while we all wallow.
Yeah. Fair point. There's not really much else you can say on that. I mean, CB,
apart from being like, well, Liverpool were pretty atrocious,
yeah,
and United fully deserved to win.
Really.
I don't really want to talk about it too much. Just let the United fans love it.
Yeah, I've kind of just removed it from all memory.
Main question is for me, what's happened?
What's United?
Sorry, I was to say.
I mean, there is a lot of injuries.
Yeah, only 9 and a suspension.
Like, the main transfer of the season is missing one, and that I feel like in training they've kind of tried to adapt the whole first 11 to work around him, and then now he's just gone.
But it's completely and utterly his own fault for trying to headbutt someone.
Yeah, I mean that's a different argument, isn't it? Like, but yeah, I do get what you mean. What do you think?
So what I heard from that though, sorry, is that this is all Klopp's fault. Is that right?
No, definitely not. I don't think it's Klopp's fault that Nunes headbutted someone.
Do you think though that Nunes would have started?
Yes.
Yes, because Bobby Firmino, I think's finished.
Also, Martinez is 5'2" or something.
I agree, but I don't know. I don't think he was ready to start yet. I think Klopp had a bit of a plan to ease him in as a super.
I think he did as well.
A few games
until he seen the Bournemouth game. The Fulham game, and he came on and basically
came on and just grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck. Yeah,
that's when I think it changed, and he was like, "Yeah, I think he's ready."
Especially if you look at what Bobby was doing. Obviously, Roberto Firmino, if you want to, I just call him Bobby, but when you think he was playing further back than Milner when he was meant to be the central striker, you're going, man, we needed Nunes so much in this game. But
you say that though, but I saw a stat earlier, and it said that game was the whole time he's been at Liverpool, the game where he's had the most touches, the most forward passes. Maybe he was told to play in that position.
I think just naturally he drops further back, but he's dropping so far back now.
Well, yeah.
I mean, he's meant to be the central striker.
There was a picture at one point of the midfield, and there was literally 2 players on the wings, and then there was just no one in the midfield when we had the ball in United's half.
Milner was the furthest forward. That quite clearly shouldn't be the case.
Milner should definitely not be starting a game like that. I appreciate him being there, having his experience and everything, but he should not be starting a game like that.
Well, he started all 3 games, and that just shows the injury crisis, really.
Well, yeah, pretty much.
He took a reduction in wages because he obviously thought he was only going to be a bit-part player now.
Did you see his mural at his school this week?
The what, sorry?
They put up a mural at his school, his high school that he grew up at, and it's on the school corridor, and all the pictures of him. There's one in a Newcastle shirt, one in a Villa shirt, one in a Leeds shirt, one in a Liverpool shirt, and then no pictures of him in a City shirt.
I imagine James Milner looking exactly the same at every single age in those pictures.
Yeah. You will not be surprised to know he got 11 GCSEs.
He probably went to school with Winston Churchill. He's that old.
Probably. What about from a United point of view? So, LV, CB, what do you want to say?
I'm surprised. I didn't expect us to win at all. I thought we'd lose. That's my optimism.
Yeah, that was kind of the thoughts before the game, wasn't it? That you were going to get trounced. I know a lot of Liverpool fans kind of had a feeling that it was not going to be like that, especially when the team was named.
When the team was announced and you saw the bench, I think you kind of and I'm a very pessimistic Liverpool fan, don't get me wrong, but I looked at the bench and was like, I think we're in trouble here, and it was found to be right.
what was it like? The values like 60 million to 350 or something stupid, and 40 million of it.
I don't even think it was 60 million. Yeah, it was like I think it was like 50-ish, and 40 of that was a not fully fit Fabinho. He going, okay.
As soon as he came on, though, I feel like the midfield did change.
Yeah, completely. But just the game was
Too
kind
little,
of
too late. He was carried
by then. But
I do feel that
Go on, Tom.
the front three, the balance is gone. You know, that Mane had that balance, Mane, Firmino, and Salah, or even Jota. There was a balance there now because Mane's gone. Diaz is a great player, but he's not fitted in, and there's no balance there yet. They just don't break that final third.
Diaz shows a lot of promise, but I feel like he's just like lacking in the.
he's running away from goal more than like
Yeah.
threatening. Obviously, everyone now knows to double mark Salah, and without a central striker in Nunes, Bobby dropping so far back that
It's like two up front, then, isn't it?
But
I feel like
and both
he does a
wingers
lot
are
of hard
staying out
work.
wide. It's a work in progress, isn't it? I suppose,
Yeah.
but
I'm not.
It'll come back.
Yeah. I still honestly believe we're going to come second, but it might just take a bit longer to get going. We usually kind of start the season slow because like the last two times when we finished a point behind City, you always think back to like before Christmas and you're like, oh, we dropped this point here, we dropped that point there, and then in the second half of the season we kind of like a runaway train.
Also, we've seen that City are susceptible for dropping points as well. We did it on the weekend, so
Yeah,
probably
I don't
will
think
drop
they're
more
going to
points.
be. I don't think they're going to be as defensively sound as in previous seasons,
Well,
as shown
just-
with the Newcastle game.
my thoughts on the Newcastle game, though, is that it's a completely different opponent to what City are likely to come against. With it
Yeah,
being like
especially
the new rich club on the block.
Especially,
It's
I
the
feel like
oil
Eddie
rivalry,
Howe-
isn't it? It's like it's gonna be the new oil rivalry.
yeah. We'll talk about that more on that game when we get there. But
Yeah,
sorry, I was going to
What
say, like,
about,
give it 3 years, and that is the game that
Super
decides the
yeah,
hosting
title.
that'll be the two. Yeah. What about you, Fry? You're very quiet. About what your thoughts from a neutral perspective?
Not really sure. Neutral, am I? It's always funny to watch Liverpool lose. I'm not gonna lie, but it's you kind of do it through like my own tears, to be honest. So it's kind of like you can't really enjoy it as much as you'd like to, especially when you read comments saying like the season's over and like that's it, it's done, like the title's over and things like that. It's
It's
a bit like but football's like that nowadays, isn't it? You get a string of bad results and then everyone wants your manager sacked and you didn't buy the right people and then but yeah, I didn't even think, to be honest with you, I didn't even think United even played that well. I just think
No,
Liverpool
honestly, I
played-
didn't think they played that well. I think they just outfought us, which
Well,
is
it's not even that.
They
They just
wanted
won
it
the,
more.
they won the midfield. Yeah,
exactly.
as soon as
They wanted it more.
yeah, there's that. So, like the protests and stuff, obviously, like sort of galvanised them a little bit. But when you win the midfield battle, you basically the game's yours to lose then. And
Yeah,
Liverpool's midfield
and we
was
don't
so
really
bad.
have a midfield at the moment.
Yeah, it was so
That's part
bad
of the problem.
that even I would
say
have
is-
had my chances that game, to be honest.
You could say as well that they've lost against. Well, United lost against Brighton, then 4-0 to Brentford. They're coming against Liverpool. What have they got to lose? So they just
I
went
think-
for it, didn't they?
and I think that's what caught Liverpool off guard a little bit because we came out of the blocks so quickly. You could have potentially have thought that United would sit back and be a bit defensive. Seems like we'd been battered in the first two games, and now we're against arguably the best team in the country with them in City. Like, we don't want to lose this game with all the protests outside and that, but we didn't. That didn't seem to affect the team, and we just came at Liverpool straight away. And I think that really
like
pissed them off.
a wounded animal.
I
type
do
thing,
think
wasn't
our team selection was much better than the previous two games, which helped. Dropping Shaw and
Yeah.
Maguire was, well, that just shows how much better we are without him.
Ronaldo as well.
Yeah,
You
Is there any
dropped
way
the
back to
guys
them,
you
do you
needed
think?
to drop to give it as much as you could against Liverpool. Yeah, I think Liverpool were caught a bit flat-footed, but at the same time, I mean, Liverpool have to expect at Old Trafford, it's Man United, that they're going to give it a go. I don't know what Liverpool were kind of expecting. You're going, of
They
course,
expected
United
like
are going to
last
give it a go.
was they expecting to be like a performance where we literally just lie on the ground and be like, go on, let's keep attacking.
Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, last year it was like 5 minutes of giving it a go, and then it's obviously I think Naby Keita scored after like 6 minutes, and you're going, oh, here we go.
I
Like,
did actually look at the timer at 5 minutes and thought, oh, United have done better this season.
I think even was it Martin Tyler on commentary was like, "Oh, at this stage last year they were already 2 down." I'm like, yeah.
Well,
Let's hark back to Let's hark back to a year ago.
Martin Tyler was on the call then. Bloody hell!
And Martin Tyler actually back in Liverpool because I just feel that he hates Liverpool. To be honest, I think
feel every fan feels that Martin Tyler hates their club.
Probably, but I don't know. Martin Tyler, I do think doesn't like Liverpool
the thing
for
is,
whatever
he
reason.
comments on so many games. Like he's not going to be like 100% into it, is he, on every single game? So I'm sure someone could go back and say, "Oh, look, he didn't talk about this goal as."
But what you got to remember as well is he's on telly, so he's going to say stuff that's going to get people to go and watch it, isn't it? So
yeah, true.
I'm just glad that Martial didn't come on and score because otherwise he'd probably screamed himself death.
That's what I was waiting for. He nearly did score at one point as well, but he fluffed it.
Yeah.
Going back to the players who dropped, Maguire, Ronaldo, Shaw. Any way back for them, CB?
I'd like to say no, especially for Shaw.
I think Malacia was quite impressive.
I like Malacia. He's he did well against Salah. He didn't keep Salah completely quiet, but I thought he did quite well. He always went in for the tackle. He's decent on the ball. He showed more fight than Shaw. And Martinez, I just think he just has to start with Varane.
I don't think Maguire can come back.
I've seen the stat. I don't know how true it is, but apparently he's won every aerial duel. I don't know if it's true. I don't think it's true, but apparently he's won every aerial duel, which is not bad for 5'9".
No.
So I did you see him at full time as well?
Yeah, to go.
Johnson's turned into a Dalek.
What did you say?
Oh, there we go. He's back now. What were we saying, Johnson?
I was like, didn't Ben Mee as in
Oh, he's gone again. I think I know what he's going to say, so I'll say it to him. But I think wasn't the whole thing that Brentford kind of just lumped the ball up in the air, and that's where Martinez struggled. So I'm fairly sure he has lost some aerial duels.
But I don't think he actually struggled as badly what people think. I think Maguire was much worse.
You're probably reading stuff on the internet, so people sensationalise stuff, don't they? So.
Yeah, so I think I think overall he's done well this season so far. I think even as Tony said, Brentford striker said, yeah, they targeted him, but he didn't necessarily get the best of him. It was quite 50-50. I think he could be a quality player for United, and I'm very happy with him, Malacia, and Eriksen. So
it can't be worse than...
No, but we still need new players. Yeah, we've got Casemiro. But that's 60 million, maybe.
See how he fits in.
Maybe too much, 60 million.
And then there's rumours of 85 million for Anthony, which sounds like it's going to happen.
Which he's not worth that, to be fair.
Which is good for Liverpool because we've just drawn Ajax in the Champions League, so I hope you do fine. But yeah, what about the protest then? What do you think they achieved with the protests?
Well, they were worried. I think it's quite obvious they're worried. That's why they tried to silence
the Glazers actually come out and communicated anything?
No. They don't. I think they've only really ever done it after the fall of the Super League. They give false promises.
To be fair, if people turn up, if people protest but still go to the games and pay the tickets, pay the money, there's not a protest. They have to just boycott.
Yeah,
they have to boycott and have no one in the stadium.
But the issue with United, though, you can like buy a ticket, then not. Or no, if you decide not to buy a ticket, someone's going to buy it.
Yeah, so I feel like it's the same thing with Liverpool. There's so many like out of towners that will buy it. They're there on a day trip.
I think out of towners is narrow. Is a bit too narrow there. You mean out of country as well?
Oh yeah. Like you've got a lot of Asian fans. Obviously.
That's the thing. When you've got a global influence and a global fan base, then the lads from your local pub who are annoyed with the owners aren't really going to make a dent in any type of protest.
No, because you're going to have people there who probably never get a chance to go again. So if there's a ticket there, they don't care what's going on, do they?
It's like a one time in a lifetime. Just go to watch United Liverpool. Well, if you're coming from abroad or the other side of the country, you're more likely to attend it. But
true. Didn't they say after the Super League that they were going to be, they were going to start talking more to the fans? Has anything come of that?
I think they've had one meeting, and that was about it. And they've been silent really ever since. Which it just says a lot about them, to be honest. I saw unconfirmed rumours that apparently the attendance for United Liverpool was only in its 40,000s. Don't know how true it is.
No, that's not true.
There was more than 10,000 protesters outside. For sure.
I can check the attendance right now.
Yeah, check it. I don't think that's unconfirmed. I've seen it somewhere, but I haven't been able to see anywhere else. The actual.
I was quite surprised with Klopp's.
Is even the season holder doesn't show up there. There's a
You keep going out, George Johnson.
I'm out and cooking.
George, you might need to move closer to your. Oh, he's gone.
He's going to reach.
He lives in a big house, so
He'll be back. Yeah, going back to Klopp's comments after the game when he said, "I feel like we could have won the game," which sounded like obviously he always tries to take it like the flack off his team, and I feel like there's a bit of that. But if you do go over the match stats, like I was quite surprised that we had more shots than United. Like very surprised because I don't recall us having many.
Yeah.
If you go over the stats,
I don't recall.
We had 71% possession to 29. It didn't seem like that in the game.
I don't recall.
That's domination, that is.
Yeah, I just don't recall them getting through the defence. They were seemingly just passing, having possession outside of the 18-yard box, just passing it around.
Yeah,
I don't remember that many shots.
Attacked, they always looked like they were going to score, didn't they?
Yeah. So and also
we had 17 shots. United had 13.
But yeah, I didn't really see much in Liverpool actually shot-wise. Think how many chances you actually had. It didn't feel that many.
Just a poor performance all round, to be honest, and one I would like to forget.
Speaking of poor performance, though, what's happened to Van Dijk his first few games? And Mitrovic just had the best of him. And this one, Van Dijk, there's that thing where he's like, with his hands behind his back, not even blocking the shot.
Yeah, he's always done that.
I was reading something about that, and
looking like Liam Gallagher about to sing Wonderwall.
Sunshine.
There was talk about him having a bit of there's the feeling, isn't there, that no one ever dribbles past Van Dijk. So when he was in that situation where Sancho potentially could have got past
maybe it affects him.
Was there that mindset of like, oh well, if I stand here and do nothing, he can just shoot, or if I go,
at least he hasn't gone past me, but he scored.
Exactly.
What was quite funny on that goal is, did you see Bruno just like pointing, like, put it there, mate?
Yeah.
Oh, Bruno got the assist there, didn't he? Yeah,
definitely. 4 points in FPL.
I'm surprised he was up off the floor enough, like a long enough time without crying to actually do that. But there we go. Anyway, so up next, Liverpool home game against Bournemouth at 3:00 on Saturday. You would say a fairly favourable game, but obviously I don't know what is going to happen with Liverpool. But and then United are the lunchtime kickoff away at Southampton, which, correct me if I'm wrong, CB or Falvey, but I don't think you've got a great record there, have you?
Not recently, I don't think. We drew a few.
But then you've probably not got a great record anywhere recently, so not to burn or anything, but yeah.
We're funny because we lost to them.
I know, yeah. Should we move on to Everton? Do you want to have a say on that game? Obviously, not the greatest start, but then it's kind of expected.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just fighting back tears. Give me a sec.
Well, obviously, Nottingham Forest at home, it was 1-1.
Yeah, it was 1-1. It was one of those games where, even though we were at home, it was pretty even with like possession, shots, with like everything. They just even the goals came within like 10 minutes of each other. It was just
they were
kind of just shows a little bit. Yeah, kind of shows where we're at the minute. We're just lacking in like all areas of everything, and I'm of the opinion this is just going to be another season where like we're not going to. People keep talking about like cup run, dreams and all the rest of it. I think we just need to get the stadium sorted, and then look at bringing some people in, because it's just again, Frank's doing. I think he's doing pretty well with what he's got, to be honest. I know he's getting a lot of flack at the minute for the formation.
It was a poison chalice, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, well, he's playing like five or six at the back, and it's just like inviting pressure and stuff. But when I ask people, like, well, why would you play a more open field with the players he's got? I mean, you don't want to be talking about like wing backs going forward. All the rest of it. We don't have Digne anymore. We don't have Baines anymore. The resources he's got. I mean, he's starting Tom Davis. That's how bad it is. We're starting Tom Davis. We're starting Rondon. It's just every single area just needs improving. It's going to take a long time.
My thoughts on Rondon. He should not be starting for you. Like, he definitely, like, you haven't replaced Richarlison. He effectively kept you up last season, and just sold him and pocketed the money and not replaced him. I heard today actually that you're being linked to Shea Adams, and he's not the answer. He scored 2 at the weekend, but his last goal before that was in February. So
and this is and I agree with you that he's not the answer. But this is the argument I have with other Everton fans at the minute: is like, who is the answer? And if you tell me that person, I can guarantee you they don't want to come to us. Why would they want to come to us and potentially?
But then that's where
relegation
Frank
battle.
earns his wages, doesn't he? He needs to sell the project to them. Like, you're obviously not going to be shopping at the top table, but like, obviously we weren't in as bad a situation as this. But when we had Brendan Rodgers and we couldn't get in the Champions League, we couldn't sign players that we wanted. We had to try and sell them.
That must have been terrible for you. Oh god!
And I know it's all relative, but still, like, players like Willian. Even Gylfi Sigurdsson, he went to Spurs instead of us. Willian went to Chelsea. Sanchez went to Arsenal because his wife wanted to live in London, apparently. But it was
we started at the back. We got Tarkowski and Connor Cody because Yuri Mina is.
That's 2 great signings. Mina's good, but he's quite injury prone, isn't he?
He's got Weetabix legs. Yeah, I don't know what he does in, like, maybe he's helping the Colombians move stuff as well, so he gets injured outside of football. But he's just
them baggies of cocaine are big. They're heavy. Then
he's
a big guy.
Again, when he plays, obviously, he's one of those that he's on the pitch. If you get me, he's always he's quite dominant.
Got a commanding presence.
Yeah, but then again, as I say, like the game against Forest, you've got Pickford, who's, I think his distribution is one of the best in the league. I know I'm being a bit biased there, but I think it is. But then, he's like looking up the pitch and he's looking at Nathan Patterson and Iwobi and Tom Davis.
Yeah, they're just not good enough quality, are they?
And it's like, and then when the World Cup comes around, he's trying to put the ball onto Harry Kane, and he's trying to give it to Sterling, and it's just miles apart from what I think a decent Premier League team needs to be.
He's got a good base in signing Tarkowski. Tarkowski and Connor Cody, I feel like are 2 really good defenders.
At the back. That's what I think he's.
That's a good base. Did you sign Dele Alli, or was he on loan? Because he's completed the transfer today to Besiktas. You signed him.
Yes.
I've seen pictures today. He was like getting a hero's welcome at Besiktas. I was thinking, have you ever seen him play?
He was getting a good reception at the Vodafone Arena.
Very, very good reception.
They obviously just watch Premier League years from 5 years ago.
Well, yeah, I was going to say they probably just showed the highlights from when Poch was there. But yeah.
And again, that shows, a signing like that shows you how not just desperate we are, but like the type of people that we're attracting. It's these people who are past it, or again, these people who think, maybe I can start again.
But a signing like Dele Alli makes sense because he's got something to prove, but obviously it didn't go well.
It was a cheap option that could have worked out for you. It ultimately didn't really, hence why he's now going to Besiktas. But I can see why you went for that tail end of last year. You're desperate to try and stay up. Dele Alli might be that guy. It didn't really work out.
Yeah, and then Richarlison goes. Well, obviously, we didn't want to get rid of him, but you can't stop him from going. I would have liked,
especially not for that kind of money. It's the same for Anthony Gordon. If Chelsea want to pay 60 million, thank you very much.
Well, again, it's like a catch-22 because I personally quite like how Everton develop these type of players, but it always ends the same, where they always end up going to United or they always end up going to Chelsea or whatever. So again, I thought to myself, like, he's coming at quite a good time because obviously with Calvert-Lewin out, he was basically the talisman for like our first 2 games, and that to me was a good chance for him to sort of get some experience without the sort of flack of not doing anything, because he's been thrown in at the deep end. So you can't really blame him for not getting the goals, because he's it's the position we're in. Like, he's got no choice. He has to play. So I thought that was a good chance for him to get some minutes in and sort of get developed. But yeah, he's going to go again. It's the age-old Everton thing. I know you guys don't really understand it because you are the guys that buy these players.
I can fully appreciate how good Everton's academy is over the years.
Level. We used to get players poached by Barca all the time and stuff like that.
Yeah, which I could get would be annoying at your level because obviously you're at the top. But again, for us, it's like
anyone who shows any promise gets nabbed. Yeah.
This has come surprisingly early though. Like, he's still only 21. I'm just reading now. He's only played 52 times for Everton. Like,
I don't understand why Chelsea are going for him. To be quite honest, they've got Ziyech, they've got Pulisic. Anthony Gordon's not as good as either of them. It's Hudson-Odoi. There's loads of people put ahead of him in the pecking order.
Maybe it's Ross Barkley's got a mate.
Hudson-Odoi looks like he's
scattergun. It's scattergun from Chelsea just spending money with this new owner. It doesn't really make sense, Anthony Gordon. But from Everton's point of view, it's great business. 60 million for a guy who, let's be honest, isn't anywhere near the finished article. I think you'd take the money, reinvest a bit of it back, and then pocket the rest for your financial issues.
Could it be an argument as well that they were selling in before they potentially get relegated? Not to sort of be that negative straight away, but like, if he goes down to the Championship, unlikely, but it's his price cut in half.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, there is all that as well, but it's just again, there was a lad I was speaking to yesterday actually, and he came up with this mad conspiracy theory that apparently the only reason Chelsea are buying Anthony Gordon is to try and ensure that Everton get relegated. Now, I tried to explain to him that Chelsea do not care what Everton do.
No.
And we don't.
In fact, I would say it's the other way around. They basically gave you a free win last season.
Chelsea fans will pay a little bit of attention to Everton because of the Lampard factor, but no, that's like that's just like, the moon's made of cheese kind of theory in my eyes.
And he was one of these that wants Frank being sacked as well, and I'm like, I'm trying to explain to him, like, right, okay, so we live in this world where Lampard gets sacked because you don't like the formation and all the rest of it, even though he hasn't got the players to play how you want him to play. So we sacked Frank. Who do we go for? He was trying to come across like we've got like a line of managers waiting to come in and take over this absolute mess.
Regardless of that, like,
I've got a theory
about it. They used to have Ancelotti and Benitez, and they've now gone to Lampard. Like, where'd you go after that?
I reckon Brendan Rodgers, because I reckon his time at Leicester's up.
Yeah, so I reckon it's done.
By the end of the season.
Yeah, we will get into that on the Leicester game, but yeah.
I
agree.
I've got one as well. Like, Fryer, would it even be a really bad thing to go down to the Championship for a couple of seasons just to reset, just to build something, even just to have a nice season of winning,
Yeah, it would be an absolute disaster.
Yeah.
I think Everton have got a lot of players that think they're too good for the Championship, and I feel like they could get lost in there for a while, kind of like Leeds.
And I think with Everton's history as well, they're a Premier League team, aren't they? Like, even if they're poor, they're a Premier League team.
I think it's us, Arsenal, and someone else who've never been relegated. But yeah, no, if we go
Spurs, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it might be. If we go down, I think we'll be stuck there for a long time.
I think with your financial situation as well.
Your youth team always does bring out some good things. Maybe it will force more youth through.
Yeah, maybe to
so
force
it'd
them
be bad in the sense of a lot of your first teamers will obviously leave, but I wouldn't say it's a blessing rather than a curse, because obviously no one ever wants to get relegated, but maybe it would shed some of the rubbish that you've got, start afresh, and you can still sell the project with the stadium. I mean, obviously, you'd rather Everton didn't go down, but I don't think it's as doom and gloom as you think. Like,
also,
from the inside, it's always worse, isn't it?
Oh, go on. Was that Tom?
Yeah, I was just saying, like like Villa, you just be coming up as a positive winning side. You feel like you can win again, even though it isn't the Championship. It's when you're coming up, being promoted, you've got a great feeling, and it's a new, fresh start, and you've got nothing to lose because you're a promoted team. Right now, every season it feels like doom and gloom. Are we going to go down or blah, 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 blah. If you do go down, at least it gets it out your system and then you can just come back up and rise from the ashes, probably.
I can understand. I can sort of understand your optimism, but again, I think being an Everton fan my entire life, I don't have optimism anymore. So I feel if we do go down, I think we'd stay there for a really long time.
It's always worse.
It's been well beat out of you, I suppose, but
I've
got a Newcastle mate.
We'd have the best stadium in the Championship, so that'd be a plus.
Yeah.
I think
I've got a Newcastle.
I don't think having the new stadium, like going back to that stadium point, I don't think having the new stadium is all that it's cracked up to be. Because if you look at the way TV revenue has increased and the way that's increased wages and transfer fees, like the price of tickets they've gone up obviously, but I think it was Bayern Munich or something. I remember their owner saying we'd rather have a full stadium and make like €3 million from it by having cheap tickets, so that we've got the atmosphere. But like if they had like €70 a ticket, it's barely a drop in the water. So I feel like
well, obviously,
it's easy for Bayern to be like that though, because they just dominate their league every year. Like,
no, I know that, but I'm saying
Bayern got down to the second division, would they be winning all the time? Would the fans want to go?
Yeah, but what I mean is the money they're spending on the stadium. Like a lot of Everton fans think, once that happens, we'll then have more revenue to spend on players. But the price of the tickets is a drop in the water compared to the TV revenue.
No, I get that, but
Arsenal and Spurs obviously have got new stadiums, and they suffered on the pitch as a result. But now they're both looking like now the stadiums are sorted; they can kick on.
Well, what I'll say about our stadium though, Fel, which I think you might be underestimating, is Goodison is a literal shed.
It literally is wooden floorboards, isn't it?
It's wooden floorboards. We've got, I think, if I remember right, there's like 8 executive boxes, whereas like Old Trafford have like 50 odd, 40 odd, something like that. So this new one is going to come with like 40, 50, like the same amount.
Yeah.
So there's going to be loads more money coming in.
Should we?
Everton definitely need a new stadium.
Should we brush over Forest quick, just because time's going on? Obviously, they made a lot of signings in the summer. I don't know if you have watched them closely. I know their previous game. I can't remember who it was they were playing now. They won 1-0. It was a very lucky goal from what I saw. It was just like a deflection.
West Ham, was it?
Yeah, it was West Ham. I feel like they've got a lot of fight, but I think they're going to struggle. They don't have a quality.
I disagree. I think they've brought in a lot of players, but I think they're going to be all right. I think who they've brought in has been pretty clever of them, to be fair.
I just think Wales fan. I was going to say, reminiscent of Fulham a few years ago when they came up and they splashed the cash and they had no identity as a team. Now, obviously, Forest are playing well, but are they going to gel? Because you got the likes of Dennis coming in.
That's a good point. They don't have an identity. I think not having a sponsor, kind of in your mind, kind of gives you that though. Like when you look at their kit, they're just like, who are they? Like if you get what I mean.
It's a nice throwback, isn't it, to know things on the kits, like. But
yeah,
and look at Watford last year; they came out of the blocks firing, didn't they? And then eventually,
well, Norwich do it every season, don't they? That season they beat City 4-2, and then, as usual, they went down.
But Norwich are the opposite. They never spend money when they come up, and so they're inevitably going back down.
True.
Whereas I think Nottingham Forest have got a good manager. I think they have been signing decent players. It will take a bit of time to gel, but they've brought themselves into the mix of potential mid-table.
They may have.
They're not like experts for going down.
Struggle,
in that case, I think they've done all right.
When I say they struggle, I don't mean they'll go down. I just mean like they could have.
That's a good season for them then. If they're not going to go down, that's the whole point of spending the money in it.
Yeah.
And as a Wales fan, I've got a vested interest in Nakia Williams and Brennan Johnson as well. Brennan Johnson getting the goal the other day as well. He's a really decent player.
Well, from what I've seen. He's had a few good performances from Liverpool. So, anyway, up next they have got a trip they're at home against Spurs on Sunday at 4:30. Tough game, and Everton play Brentford away. Unfortunately, for can't really see much in that game.
Well, no, I've got a bad experience with the Brentford one as well, haven't I? The 3-2 loss at the end of last season, where we went up twice and they got 2.
Yeah, and Brentford were not playing well then either, and they've started the season quite well. So tough game.
Yeah, we'll see. Again, I our strategy is just going to be like play compact, try and stop them from scoring, and just hit them on counters. That's all we're going to do. Are we going to mention Leeds and Chelsea by any chance? Cause,
yeah, we'll get into them. I'm just going to brush over a couple of the games first. The Fulham Brentford game. I don't know if anyone's seen this. Fulham obviously went 2-up in the first half. Brentford pulled it back, to make it 2-2. And Brentford actually went 3-2 up at the end of the second half, but the goal was offside. And then Mitrovic, obviously, the winner in the 91st minute. He is one goal away from the entire total he had last time Fulham came up, and they've only played 3 games, so he's done pretty well.
Yeah, that's the thing, is he had that record scoring thing last year, and they weren't sure if he would hit it this season. But Mitrovic, he's really proven himself he can do it in the Premier League so far, at least. Anyway,
yeah, he bullied Van Dijk in the first game of the season.
He did.
Different animal now, doesn't he? I think he's more mature, which probably helps.
Yeah, he's had a season in the league as well, in the Premier League as well.
Say he's lost weight, he's training better, he's a bit fitter as well, so he's mentally ready for it, seemingly.
What about Ivan Toney? He obviously had a good season last year. He's quite a similar player to Mitrovic. He started the season quite well. I saw he was linked with United at one point as well.
I'd have him.
I'll have him. Yeah, he's a good player.
Wasn't Vardy linked with him as well?
Everyone's been linked.
Yeah, everybody's been linked to United.
Dubravka today.
Yeah, Dubravka.
I think
I've got an email from Man United. To be fair, I'm sure I've got an email in my spam from Man United.
I think Dubravka is
just for them backheel goals that I play when I went on Wednesday.
I
love those backheel goals.
Yeah, they are a highlight of Wednesday night. But Fulham play Arsenal away on Saturday in the evening game, and then Brentford obviously got Everton. Should we talk about the Chelsea-Leeds game now? Leeds obviously winning 3-0. I didn't see all the game. I think I've seen the second half. I've obviously seen Mendy's howler for the first goal. Rodrigo. Yeah, awesome, Rodrigo's got 4 goals in 3 games now as well. So, yeah.
Every time I see a top keeper make a howler, it makes me feel better about myself.
Yeah.
As long as it wasn't near post.
As long as it's not near post, yeah. But
even that game though, it was one of those weird Tuchel games where Chelsea had the majority of the possession, but they just didn't do anything with it. It's so weird when you see him winning the Champions League, and then they've just turned into this, and it's you got rid of Lukaku, and it's just, I don't know, it's so strange to watch. It's you've got all these players, but you can't seem to create chances. It's just weird.
They haven't got a central striker, is it? That's the thing that the thing getting in Anthony Gordon, it's getting more attacking or wide players. It's a central striker you need. You've lost Werner and Lukaku. That's what you need, but they're not doing it.
Timo Werner has gone off to Germany and he's scoring for Leipzig, and then Lukaku was scoring for Inter before he came. Is there something wrong with the system at Chelsea where strikers just don't work?
No, they never work. I saw a stat earlier. Havertz this season has created more chances, I think, than any other player in the league. I think it was the league anyway. But if he's meant to be the goal scorer, why is he the one creating the chances?
Chelsea are getting a bit sick of him too, though. They're getting a bit sick of Kai Havertz, what I've seen anyway.
Havertz, if he hadn't scored the Champions League winning goal, I don't think they'd be maybe keeping him either. I don't think that he's the goal scorer they want. He's another attacking kind of guy who plays behind a striker, but he's been thrust forward. I don't think Havertz has been what they expect, because they spent 80 million from Leverkusen.
It's a bit weird that they're looking to get rid of Hakim Ziyech and Hudson-Odoi, though. I think that's a bit weird when they actually need.
That's just the Chelsea model, though, isn't it? They spend a fortune, and then 5 years later, they just refresh the whole team.
Odoi is supposed to be going, was it Bayer Leverkusen? He probably did really well.
I would sacrifice a small animal to get him at Everton.
I'd have him at Liverpool.
He'd punch your cat.
Apparently, though, he's asked to go a few times, and they've said no. So, who knows?
I reckon.
Sorry, no, you go.
I was going to say Havertz. He was similar to Werner. Send him back to Germany, and he just instantly started scoring again.
Then is that an indication of the German league not being as strong?
Could be.
I would say so, but at the same time, I
say-
think Chelsea just destroy attacking players.
Yeah, just a combination of it's easy to score there, but also it's just not a good system at Chelsea. Just for attacking players, it just
did everyone see the Mendy mistake?
Yeah, it was great.
Did anyone not see it?
It was great. Good goal.
Wow, that was. Did you see he threw like a
identify with
wobbler
that
at the
play.
end of it as well? Like as he passed the ball in the net, he started like stomping his feet like as if it was someone else's fault.
Definitely someone else's fault. Where was the defender for him to pass it to? As a goalkeeper, I identify with that. It's not his
I
fault.
did get the Hay versus Brentford vibes. Not gonna lie.
Oh God, yeah, that was great as well. Yeah.
Although,
Against Liverpool, he just couldn't wait to bash it up, could he?
Oh no, yeah. Every time he got the ball, he just hoofed it.
for the
Someone had
Wales
a word in
fans,
his ear.
by the way, I remember hearing Chelsea had a Welsh player on the bench. With their
Yeah, Ampadu was actually on the bench,
Ampadu.
which is unusual.
Ethan
Ampadu.
Ampadu, who needs to get out of Chelsea and get first team football from a Welsh point of view coming into a World Cup year. Get out of Chelsea because you're not going to make it.
Can I just say, in a Welsh point of view, at the moment, the under-16s are playing in Denby. And do you know who's on the team for that under-16s? It's Dribble Cisse's son, Prince.
Yeah. I have seen this, because his mum's from Anglesey.
Yeah.
So he's actually in the Welsh setup.
She's like a bit of hippie, isn't she?
She's married to Kante now.
What?
For some reason. Yeah, she just likes those kind of guys, I suppose.
what the hippie guys are?
What kind of guys?
The hippie guys. Yeah, the hippie guys. Yeah.
Rodrigo's got his top scorer now in the league. Last season, in the last season, I think he went 5 or 6 games on the run scoring, and obviously he's carried on from last season. 4 goals in 3 games. Koulibaly, 2 yellows. Going to miss the next game. Had the best start to his Chelsea career. I always wanted us to sign him. Whenever we played Napoli.
Oh, you say that he scored a worldie the other week, but the 2 yellows was bad.
I mean, no one remembers the worldie now. So, but yeah, whenever we played Napoli in the Champions League, he always had Salah in his pocket. Like he's so aggressive, and he was so good whenever we played him. Leeds are second as well in the table. I don't know if you've seen the table, but. I mean, they can't really ask for much more than that, can they? Leeds fans.
I've tried to not look at the table, to be honest, especially when Liverpool is 16th.
That's true. I mean, I kind of had to, but
Jesse
I think the manager
really well.
So much credit. Yeah,
I think he hasn't had the credit he actually deserves. I got him when he signed for Leeds. I thought, this won't go well,
especially with the Bielsa backlash. The fans adored him.
I quite like listening to him talking as well. Like, there's something nice about hearing an American accent, like in the English game. I don't know what it is. It's just weird.
It's crazy how much.
Have you been watching Ted Lasso by any chance?
I've never
seen some of that. It's great. Yeah, it's brilliant.
I've purposely avoided it, but yeah.
Speaking of Americans in the game, Arsenal are going to win the league. I'm going to call it now.
Arsenal. Well, we'll move on to Arsenal next. We'll just go over who they're playing next. So Leeds have got Brighton away Saturday at 3:00, and Chelsea at home to Leicester 3:00 on Saturday. So you want to talk about Arsenal next? Obviously winning 3-0 at Bournemouth. I think Odegaard scored 2 in the first 10 minutes. Jesus got a disallowed goal. So I'm looking at the score sheet again.
I know I'm a little bit biased because obviously my brother supports Arsenal, but I don't know what it is. Like, just signing Jesus, it just, as soon as I saw that, I was just like, that makes perfect sense for what Arteta is like needing. I think they just look so good as a team. If they can manage to keep people fit, I know I'm probably gonna regret this, but I really think they could be up there like challenging. I mean, for like the actual league.
I genuinely think with the sort of the links they have with City, even though it might only be subtle, but like with having the Arteta, with he's learned his trade under Pep. Now they've got Pep's players. I think, I agree with you. I think Arsenal are building something really well. Quite not necessarily quietly, but sort of subtly. They're not splashing the cash too much like United do. For
I think
example,
they've spent quite a bit of money, actually, haven't they?
Yeah, they have.
2 years.
Last season they were the
like,
top spenders. I think this
You're
season
not
they're
like
the
the
second
big
highest.
80 million spenders, are they? You're 30 mil, you're 40 mil
They're
signing,
buying
which is
multiple players, aren't they?
cheap
They're not
these
buying
days.
one player, they're buying multiple players.
Yeah.
The thing is, you see
It
when
also feels like
I was just going to say, when you see like you build a team and like you see that it's working, at some point, like again, it's like same with Liverpool. It's like with like Klopp and stuff. It's like you built a team and a system, and then it started working, and then you start winning things. I think this might be the start of Arsenal actually like starting to do stuff again now.
I agree.
I think they'll
It's a
fall
good-
off. Truth, I think they'll fall off. I think them having European football this year might be a big issue for them.
I tend to agree.
Last year they didn't have
win
any
those.
didn't have any European football last year. They went out of the cup early, and then they ballsed up getting fourth place when it was practically theirs.
Failed to get fourth last year.
I think
I agree with you.
I think they'll be
as
better,
well.
but I think I can see them. I won't be surprised if they go out the top four. I think they could easily Arsenal it, especially if teams like Liverpool get back to play full form. Tottenham, I would say, are better than them. Chelsea is still probably saying they're better than them. If
Chelsea's a question mark. If Chelsea don't recover,
any mention of Arsenal?
oh, Dalek in it again.
I think they do well, but I think they'll fall off. I think European football is going to be a big factor for them.
I think
they'll slow down. I think they come fourth quite easily.
I think Chelsea will have a say in where Arsenal finish. I think it's between Chelsea and Arsenal who comes fourth and fifth.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put my nuts out. Okay, I think they'll easily finish in top four. Arsenal. I think they'll definitely finish top four.
Just snip at this.
I think they'll slow down, but I think they will definitely.
Top fours, I think. I think top four is very much achievable, and I think that'd be a good season for Arsenal. That's what they want is Champions League again.
Well, here's a question for you then. Okay, so the worry that, well, not worry, but the concern that you'd have that they wouldn't push further in the league is because they've got European football. If they get knocked out of that early, does that change your opinion?
Yeah, but they're not going to, probably because it's Europa League, not Champions League.
If you look at the teams around, I could be mistaken, but if you look at the teams around them, I think Arsenal haven't got as big of a squad depth as your Spurs and your Chelsea.
No.
So I think a prolonged tournament like Europa would hurt them a little bit, but I still think they are better.
Another issue Arsenal could have is the game at the weekend. They fielded, I think it was the second youngest average age team at 23 and a half years old. Like, that's a very young team. Obviously, United proved that you can win stuff with kids, but it's not been done since then. So
it's obviously the stick that's always beat against Alan Hansen, isn't it? But up until that point, he was correct. No one had ever done it, and no one's done it since. But I don't think they're going to win the league. But the top four with a young potential team is still a very good season.
Fourth, fifth, aren't we?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't think they'd be higher than fourth.
No, I can't see them finishing above Spurs, who I think will be third. So you're looking at fourth and fifth, to be honest.
Something about Spurs again. It's like they get one injury and like they're.
I think it's different now with Conte. You seem to have that steal.
The Conte factor for Spurs is a big thing.
It's like that Chelsea game; they got battered the entire game.
And you say
as soon as they attacked, they took their chance, and then they did it again at the very end.
On the flip side of the Conte thing, he could easily see his arse throw his toys out the pram and quit on a limb.
They could implode,
Very hot-headed, like.
But then he seems to be getting what he's asking for right now. So as long as that harmony stays there, then hopefully it should be all right.
Well, they have backed him up there this summer, to be fair.
And that's all they can ask for, isn't it? Yeah. So Bournemouth are away to Liverpool on Saturday, as we discussed earlier. Arsenal at home to Fulham. So could have 12 and 12 come Saturday night.
I think Fulham will be quite good. I think Fulham might give them a good game.
They could do. It'll be a good game to watch. See where Arsenal really are, but
it's at Arsenal though. I think that gives them the favour. I think if it was at Fulham, it'd maybe be a bit closer. But you'd expect The weird thing with Arsenal is you'd expect them now to beat Fulham, but it'd be so Arsenal if they somehow lose to them. Like you never know. Like that old Arsenal might come back in. Like,
do we have a new?
Well, you got that big number 9 of Mitrovic as well. It's just going to cause chaos in your defence as well. So we'll see how it goes.
Don't forget pre-season Pirlo. Can't forget pre-season Pirlo.
Pre-season Pirlo?
Andres Pereira.
And Pereira. Take that from the old Man United connection.
Who's he play for now? Fulham?
Yeah, Fulham, yeah.
He's doing well.
I think he was a good signing for them, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Should be everyone's cheap fantasy football pick in terms of midfielders.
Tip of the day.
Can't put him in.
Let's just push over West Ham Brighton next. Brighton winning 2-0 at West Ham. Something wrong at West Ham. I'm not sure what it is. Listening to a lot of radio talk shows, West Ham fans seem kind of dejected that they've dropped out of the Europa League, and they kind of just see it as them going down. They've not scored a single goal this season so far. Brighton obviously doing really well. They're up to 4th now. They had 2 shots on target and scored 2 goals. So. Yeah, good start to the season for them. I think West Ham are spending quite a bit of money on the looks of things, trying to bring in a few players.
They won tonight 3-0, so it might be a bit of a...
It was a 6-1 on aggregate, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's the one.
Was that just a qualifier, was it?
Conference League.
Jeez, you have to qualify to get into that tournament. Should we do Newcastle City next? 3-3 at St. James'
The thing is, obviously, you're dumping on that Conference League, but it's a good European competition for some of the teams that won't get into the Champions League or the Europa League spot. So.
It is a good way to
It reminds me of the Intertoto Cup.
Oh, yeah.
There's
Remember
a lot of
Cup?
bad teams in it, though.
I know, but it's good for those teams. It's good for those teams.
It's good for them teams who wouldn't otherwise be in Europe. And great for fans who get to do away trips to places you wouldn't go.
I was looking at the Champions League draw today, and there's a lot of average teams in that, to be fair. But
was it Haifa? I haven't seen them for ages.
Can't be Haifa.
Yeah, I haven't seen them in.
It could be Haifa, yeah.
Well, can I just say how I think Graham Potter is a very good manager.
Even if you Czech Republic.
That was a good impression. That should we do Newcastle City next.
Go on.
3-3 at St James' Park.
Go on.
That was a good game. I watched that in A&E. I was just in A&E, wasting. It just doesn't matter.
Was all the bars shut?
The missus. Pardon? Yeah, all the bars shut. So I went to A&E and I was drinking in there.
Were you getting the sniff? You can tell us.
In A&E.
I was in A&E. I was in A&E because the missus had a problem after holiday. Blah 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 blah. Anyway, I was watching it there. But I noticed in that game because I'm really, really invested in Haaland because I want to see him score loads of goals. I don't care. I know I support Liverpool, but I just want to see Haaland do well. I don't know why. I just do. And I noticed
Haaland.
Haaland.
Haaland. Sorry, just to interrupt. It's only Haaland if you're Norwegian. He said in an interview that if you're English and you're in the UK, Haaland's fine.
But surely names.
The Welshman say Haaland.
Apparently,
it's I remember in French class asking Miss Lang what's Xbox in French, and she said the names always stay as their origin. So surely it's Haaland.
Yeah, apparently in an interview he said it's.
If he said he's not arsed, I don't think it matters.
No. I was just doing it to wind up Tom because he always.
Well, I mean,
Miss Lang in French class can shut up.
You can say
she's actually left now. Just to go off topic, she's had to face early retirement because she went crazy. But anyway, carry on.
I was going to say when you say a player's name from their country of origin, like Carl Robson-Kanu, that's his name in Welsh. But for everyone else, it's useless, isn't it? So you just go with whatever they say to be cool. So. Just go with it.
Kanu means riverbank.
His name
so,
there you go. That's where he is.
Yeah, so anyway. How Robson Canoia.
Riverbank. Yeah. So I didn't see any of this game. Newcastle.
I watched it.
It was 1-0, was it, City, and then Newcastle pulled it back to 2-1. It 3-1 in the second
Newcastle were the better team, but classic Man City, you can never write them off, and they could have stolen it.
What I noticed at Newcastle, the way they were defending, every single time a City player tried to cross the ball, there's always 2 on that guy to stop it from getting to Haaland. So they were adapting for a Haaland game.
Kind of like Salah.
Which is why other people snuck in and scored, but you can't stop Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne, man.
You can't, no.
Just stringing balls through. So incredible.
What are they going to do, though?
And that ball he played to...
Tom.
So I was going to say, Kevin De Bruyne to set the goal, that ball he played through to, I think it was, who was it that scored again? Fernandez? Not Fernandez. Bruno. Whatever it was. But like... Bernardo, yeah, it was Silva. Yeah, it was like it looked like a perfect ball at first, and he watched a replay, he just megged someone. So disappointing, really.
Off the replay of that, I've seen Haaland, however you want to say his name, reaction, and even he's like basically applauding how incredible it is. When it was a great it's going to be dangerous, man. Kevin De Bruyne linking up through to Haaland, just like that West Ham goal that they scored. You're going, Jesus, man, it's just a cheat code.
And then Haaland, he got the ball, they passed it through, threaded through, and he wasn't even behind the defence, but he just pushed his way through, muscled off the defence.
Yeah, I did see that.
It's a great save. And Pope was really good that game. As Haaland had a couple of good shots and Pope stopped him. But he's very dangerous in this league. His movement is incredible, and his speed and power.
Alan St. Maximin played really well as well.
Maximin, brilliant. Yeah. I rate him so highly. The way he basically, when he plays football, he dances. He's on the ball and he just dances. And I love how he plays. I love watching him. Yeah, he just...
you don't usually see Kyle Walker struggling for pace, but even he was having trouble with St. Max.
Yeah.
Like, you can't account for pace. It scares even some of the best covering defenders in world football. Newcastle was so good in that game, and yet... maybe he could have lost and could have won it. It was weird, man. Like you're saying about Pope, he conceded 3 goals and yet it was quality. It's so crazy. Like,
what were the
saves he pulled off?
Oh, go on. Carry on.
Sorry, I was just saying the saves he pulled off were really good. Anyway, carry on.
He's had a good start to the season for them, to be honest. I think he was man of the match in the previous game against Brighton as well. But what are the thoughts on the red card that was changed? I obviously didn't see it, but was it a red card?
No.
VAR actually worked well. It was never a red card. It was a very cynical yellow, and VAR and the referee actually made the correct decision in rescinding it and making it only a yellow. It was the positives of VAR as opposed to everyone obviously talks about the negatives.
I feel like you can't blame the referee anymore. Like, if the referee gets a mistake wrong, someone sat on a screen watching it, like, you should be telling them it's wrong.
Well, the thing is, when the red card came out, I thought I'd missed something. I thought he'd already had a yellow card.
Yeah, same.
It just seemed weird. Like, that wasn't that bad, you know. But it's a good thing VAR changed that because it was a justice, really.
It would have ruined the game. I think City would have gone to win it.
I was going to say something then, I forgot. Oh, I'd have liked to have known Jack Grealish's thoughts after Almiron scored, after those comments he made in the summer. Did anyone see those comments in the summer?
No.
Yeah, I did. And it just shows Almiron's actually playing and Grealish is not even on the bench now, exactly. So, you know.
So, basically, for people who haven't heard, during the celebration...
David Beckham should maybe just concentrate on playing.
Yeah. Well, during the title celebrations, he was obviously getting, like, smashed. And he was with, was it Bernardo or Riyad Mahrez? I can't remember. One of the two. And he was basically saying he played crap in this game. He played like Almiron. And then obviously Almiron's gone and scored against City and Jack Grealish is on the bench, so bit of calm before you.
I was saying earlier, sorry, just to cut back onto the City game. I think when we're talking about Liverpool game, we were saying about how like City are going to run away with it and potentially not with like slipping up to Newcastle. I think that was a bit of a one-off game, and if anything, it could make City a bit more dangerous going forward. Because with Newcastle having that sort of the new kids on the block attitude, they could have sat back because they are, in theory, obviously they're not quite so weak now, but they aren't as strong as the likes of City, but they've got the firepower behind them now. So I think Eddie Howe went for it to sort of show that no, we're not afraid of you. We're coming for your legacy sort of thing. So he really took the game to City, and I think if you look at the stats for a typical City game, unless they're playing someone like Liverpool, for example, like wasn't the possession like really high for Newcastle? So like the players themselves couldn't cope with.
Yourself. It was 31% to 69 to City.
Which at the same time, that's for a City game. For a City game, that's not as dominant.
No, and also
As
just
what
to
you would
point out
expect,
to
is
George
it?
there as well, just to back George's point, that possession switch was like the last 10, 20
When they were
minutes where
attacking,
City all over him.
Wasn't there like a 20-minute period when like
I feel like
50%
sometimes
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
when you watch a
yeah.
game, having like useless possession in the middle of the park, like when we watched Liverpool and United, having useless possession in the park where you do nothing, you just forget about it, and it doesn't seem like you've had ball much. Maybe that's kind of what happened, but yeah.
I think that will really shock Pep a little bit and think like, okay, there's people in this
Not
league,
gonna be
there's
as easy
teams
as
in this
before.
league who can beat us. So we need, and I think especially at the moment, our defense is a bit lacking, or it seems a bit shaky.
I don't.
It just shows that people just don't need to lie down to City. If you give them a game, you've always got a chance.
Yeah.
I mean, Newcastle away, I always thought was a tough game anyway. Even when they weren't quote unquote any good,
Yeah,
because
we
of the
never did
fans
well
in that
there.
stadium, they always make it a hard place to go. But now on the pitch and with what they might get even more coming in, obviously the link and probably getting that Isaac through, they're going to get better and better the longer it goes. So Newcastle are always were a tricky team, and before long they're going to be potentially the top dogs. Yeah. It's scary. It is scary. When their owners were their owners are worth 10 times what Man City's are. You're going like the potential there is.
They could be like the Real Madrid of like they could be the Harlem Globetrotters, couldn't they? Like, but
it's probably obviously... Pep's next exploration, isn't it? Pep will go to Newcastle next.
Yeah. That's
Eddie Howe will go to City next.
Yeah. I've never really rated Eddie Howe either. So.
I've always rated.
It could go the other way because obviously having a lot of money doesn't mean everything. Because QPR's owner was mega rich and that never happened. But
United.
You assume that it's going to go the other way with Newcastle and not work out.
They seem to be doing it the right way.
Newcastle have the fan base, don't they? And they have the stadium.
Well, yeah,
they're good manager.
It's good management in the club as well. Sorry, John, Farvey. It's good management in the club as well, and they seem to be doing it slowly, like Chelsea did back in the early Abramovich days. They're not buying big players.
Hasn't there been a few opportunities in the market as well when they've been in for someone and I can't think who now, but like the team that they wanted, they said like we want 100 mil, and they're like no, we're not getting taken a mick out.
Doing it right,
yeah.
I think
they're slowly growing, aren't they?
They're doing something similar to City, if I remember rightly. One of the main things is improving the infrastructure of the club, the stadium, the training ground. And I think they've already put plans in for like the Etihad complex. It's something similar to that, so they're doing the right thing.
Is there?
They're making.
The Etihad.
They were trying
the Etihad next to it has a. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, but say that's what Newcastle, what I've heard, are trying to do. They're going to be trying to do with that. So they've got infrastructure in place ready for the future as well, not as now. Because when City first got bought, they didn't really buy. You didn't look at some of their players when they bought at the time. They weren't world beaters. Alano. I think Newcastle in that stage now. So they're going to be good players.
Their best signing for a while thought he was signing for Man United. Rubinho was like, I thought we played in red.
I read that.
But City, like next to the Etihad, they got a little bridge going over to another stadium, which is just the City Academy or the women's team.
Yeah,
there's two stadiums in that bit.
Aren't they?
Yeah, it's nuts there.
It was one of the stadiums for the Women's Euros actually, and then obviously the complaints because it's a very small stadium. But yeah, they do have like an academy pitch that holds like 6,000 next to it. Yeah,
which is quite good to have it like right next to the stadium too, because like you can see the progression. Like, we'll play here, and next we'll be playing there.
But the manager can just walk over the road, can't he, and watch the youth team.
Mm.
It just walks over this bridge that's there, it's just, and it's a campus as well. So there's education, there's university, sports, science, and everything there. If Newcastle can make something like that, building from the foundations up, slowly they'll become big, just like City.
I think it's a little bit harder for Newcastle though because they're right slap bang in the middle of the city, whereas Man City's on the periphery on the outside, so they could buy the ground, buy the land, and like Man City from the first time I went there to the last time, which was about a year or so. Well, no, it was pre-COVID now, so like 3 years ago. Massively different in such a short time. But Newcastle, because they're in the middle of the city, like slap bang, it'll be a little bit harder to have the same kind of imprint, I think. But
They were always got the money to build a tunnel, haven't they?
Well, yeah. But Newcastle have been kind of a team that should have been big a long time before now. And Mike Ashley just held them back for 15 years, you know.
I've never been to Newcastle, but apparently, like, it's really weird being there because it's a one-club city. So, like, anywhere you go, like, literally everyone supports Newcastle.
Yeah, that's quite
It's a lovely city.
The stadium dominates the skyline. Like it's even on the drive up to Newcastle. You go, oh well, there's St James's Park. Like, it is a really really nice place, and the football mad as well. It's quality. Yeah. Well, it's pretty cool, Newcastle, to be fair. And
move on before this drags on too long. Where are we? So Newcastle have got Wolves away Sunday. City at home to Palace at the 3 p.m. kickoff. Palace have got quite a good record against City. I think I'm remembering correctly. So hopefully they can do us a favour.
There was a story, a mate of mine, a City fan, he was telling me that Pep identified like 10, 15 games in advance or something like that before the City game. Didn't they like draw or lose to him or something like that? I can't think of a few years back. He said
they've had a few good results against them.
He said it'll be Palace that beat us or something like that, and then like about 10, 15 games later, when it actually did come to play Palace, it smashed them.
It's just all Zaha, isn't it?
Hmm.
Speaking of Palace,
over there, just before you move on, can I also just say, I'm not sure you're allowed to say that they could do you a favour anymore, Fel. Considering your start to the season, do you really think
we'll still be there? We'll still be there. Only 3 games in.
Do you think you'll be closer to first or third this year?
First.
That's a good question. That's nice.
I'm surprised you think that, but I know you're very optimistic. Whereas
I'm not. I am just as pessimistic as Johnson, right? I just have full faith in Klopp.
I think you should. I think you should have faith.
He is proven time and time again. Like Klopp, I don't care who he signs.
Klopp brought us that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, so he's always going to be godlike.
And more. But like literally, I don't care who we sign, what we spend on them. I don't care where they've come from. I like when we signed like Andy Robertson. People are like, "Oh, he sounded like an £8 million left back from Hull," and I'm like, I don't care. Like
he was their best player, even though they got relegated. I always thought, we never thought he was going to be as good as what he has turned out to be. But I always thought Robbo was a clever buy.
Completely trust Klopp in anything he does, but.
No, I can agree with that.
We do need to strengthen. We've gone back to talking about Liverpool again, now, but we do need to strengthen.
All right, go on. Sorry.
Fryer though, isn't it? So he's talking about Liverpool. Can't get us out.
No, I'm just saying you've conceded in every single game. You drew to.
Yeah, we do need to sort that out. We definitely need to sort that out. That is getting ridiculous now. Like it's getting to a point where you watch Liverpool.
Randomly had Kylie Minogue in the head then. I'm just paying if you out of my.
I was like, what's he talking about? No, but literally, you watch Liverpool now. I don't know if you're the same, but you'll be watching it, and then you're just waiting for them to score, and you're like, right, we can actually start playing now. Because that's just what happens every single game. But yeah,
talking about there are issues when we've gone behind. It's like 7 games in a row. Yeah. Might even be more now, but it is a bit of a weird situation at Liverpool. But we are talking about Liverpool again, which we did for quite a bit.
Let's move on to Palace. We were talking about Palace. I'm going to brush over Palace. Palace has obviously beat Villa at home 3-1. Zaha got another 2 goals. I don't understand why he's still there, to be honest. Like he's obviously too good for Palace.
Isn't he off to Arsenal?
Every season.
Oh, that would be a good signing. Yeah, every season.
I don't think he'll leave. He gets consistent football at Palace, and he's their star man. I think if he goes somewhere else, he loses all that. I don't see why.
I don't think he will sign a new contract though.
No, I don't think he will.
He's one of those players who is just a big fish in a small pond and thrives at being a big fish in a small pond.
Like, he didn't do well at United, did he?
100% agree with that one. I was going to say the same thing. Big fish, small pond. He went to United, didn't work out. Went back to Palace, and he's the main guy.
You take him out of that.
He didn't get
I think Jesus is the same thing.
I've just googled it, so take it with a pinch of salt. But apparently, his contract runs out in 2023, so he could be going on a free next season. He could be going on a free in January.
I think of course, I've never met the guy, but I think he thrives being the top dog, and he's the top dog at Palace. And if he goes somewhere else, if he's not the top dog, he won't be the dominant figure, and he won't be able to play like he does. So we'll see anyway.
I think he wants to play
but
Champions League, doesn't he? I know he gets linked to Everton a lot.
Yeah.
Obviously not this season or last season, but I always
Well,
thought
Why would he want to downgrade his career and go to Everton?
No, but like the last 2 or 3 years,
fine,
Everton were higher than Palace, weren't they? So,
Do you reckon Patrick Vieira might? I know obviously he'll want the best for Palace, but do you reckon he might be a bit like, no, you could go to Arsenal, obviously with his links to Arsenal, and be a bit like, you could do well there.
100%.
Yeah.
As anything has proven the last 2-3 months, there's literally zero loyalty in football. Like Vieira would love to beat Arsenal in a game.
Isn't he closer to City now anyway than Arsenal, actually?
Maybe so.
He did come through the coaching setup at City, but he's an Arsenal legend, isn't he? But
Yeah.
I think Zaha could work badly for Arsenal. When you think, how many good youngsters they've got, they brought in a guy who's gonna maybe want it to be a bit more about him. I don't know if Zaha to Arsenal would be a good thing. I think that could work against Arsenal, if anything.
Do we think Gerrard's getting a bit of a free pass, and why, if so?
Yeah.
He's not been amazing.
Well, Gerrard went to a team in Scotland where I could manage them and win the league.
Then his team have just essentially his.
I don't
team
know
have
about
just
that, mate.
won the Champions League.
It was 10 years of dominance by Celtic that he stopped. So I think Rangers fans would disagree with you on that one.
And
But you say that like he came in like some kind of like prophet, and it was all Gerrard. It really wasn't.
No, but to Rangers fan, he effectively would be because he stopped Celtic winning 10 in a row, won the league title.
I would be quite confident Tom going there at that stage and him winning it.
Like,
I would
spent a lot of money, Gerrard.
It was only yesterday they qualified for the first time in 12 years for the Champions League, so it shows obviously they got double relegated and done over by everyone else in that setup. But Gerrard did bring them back to being back into the two horse race that it always ever is.
He wasn't manager in the lower league, was he?
No, he took over when they were back in the Prem. Ali McCoist did a lot of the early work, didn't they?
Right.
Then they went to someone, was it Warburton?
Legend.
He didn't quite get them there, and then Gerrard kind of solidified them and then pushed them for a title.
Yeah, he had a bit of discredit. He did do a good job at Rangers, and you got to beat the other horse, which is Celtic, and yeah, he did win a title to Rangers, and so he did do well. I mean, I'm being very cynical because that's how the Scottish League has always been, just Celtic and Rangers for millions of years, from the 80s.
Yeah, I agree. But he spent a lot of money, and I feel like they've got no identity, Villa.
I mean, they wouldn't have got the players they've got now if it wasn't for Gerrard. Coutinho wouldn't be playing for him, etc. But at the same time, he's not done amazing. Even the game the other night against Bolton were well in that game up until half time, and then just the quality of Villa beat him in the end. But it could go either way still for Gerrard, which is quite worrying because he's been at Villa for a little while now. But he could be the first quote-unquote manager sacked, but he could also kick him on. They're kind of like a crossroads now, I think, Gerrard at Villa.
Yeah, it needs to start going well soon, otherwise, yeah, I can't see a good ending for him, to be honest.
I thought Ten Hag was odds-on favourite to get sacked first.
It was.
I think Brendan Rodgers is the next one to get sacked.
Ten Hag was never going to get sacked first because Man United surely now realise they need to give someone a whole 3-year process.
I paid out.
I wouldn't. Yeah. Paddy Power like doing joke bets and that, but Ten Hag always needed 3 years to actually imprint the thing. Like, it was never going to be Ten Hag first. That one was just a silly one.
I completely agree about the needing time, but I think there was a bit of a fear that if Liverpool came to Old Trafford and just rolled us over like you have done, and then say if you went to Southampton, it wasn't looking like anything was going to happen then. I reckon there could have been a case for him to have been sacked. No way, shape or form it would have happened now after the Liverpool game.
I feel like they'd have spent lots of money first and then give it a couple more games.
But
if it was still going like that, then
snapshot and snap.
Oh, Dalek George again. Try
again. I
like how George keeps getting sent to the shadow.
Certain players that are there that should have been got rid of. And the hierarchy at Manchester United, it's the manager's the fall guy every time. It's like in any job, the manager is the first one and the easiest and the cheapest to get rid of when the problems are either above or on the pitch.
Johnson, you need to sit closer to your Wi-Fi box, lad.
But then, managers buying.
Have I gone Dalek again? Have I?
No, we can hear you. We can hear you. You did go Dalek, but we can hear you. I think I prefer that, darling. Anyway, let's move on from
It
there.
sounds like a clanger.
It does a bit, actually. Clangers, I hate that show so much. City, obviously, are playing Palace next. At City, as we said before. And then Villa are at home to West Ham on Sunday, which will be an interesting game. So we've got 2 more games to talk about. Leicester and Southampton and Spurs and Wolves. So does someone want to choose one first?
Wolves were lucky against Spurs. That's what I'm going to say. Wolves were lucky against Spurs in that game. I thought they
were very unlucky. I think that was the one game I watched from start to finish and this weekend. And Wolves are really good. They just need someone to put the ball in the back of the net. But the same thing with Spurs happened against Chelsea. They just sat back, absorbed the pressure, and took their chance.
Okay, so this is what I was saying before about Spurs. Are you trying to tell me that if Harry Kane gets injured, they win that game?
No, but you could say the same thing about
saying.
Arsenal. If Jesus gets injured, who's completely transformed that team.
He didn't even score like in the last
No, he
game.
didn't, but he is taking up so many defenders. Like 2 people are marking him, leaving space for others. You can say that about everyone, though.
Yeah, I'm not saying. Yeah, no, I'm not saying about his impact. Go on, George. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I think with Spurs, so they are adding to the team really well. Like, if you look at, I'm not saying he's as good or could replace Kane, but Richarlison.
Yeah, if Kane gets injured, you've got Richarlison to come in.
Son can score. Son can play up front. Son can score the goals. You got Kulusevski coming in now. I think these players are slightly better than what Arsenal have. I'm not saying they would beat Arsenal. Spurs would beat Arsenal week in, week out. But I would say Spurs have a slightly stronger team, and the depth is getting stronger, and therefore that's why I think Spurs will.
I mean, I'm coming across like I'm an Arsenal fan here, and I hate Spurs. I don't actually hate Spurs. I think I'm more got PTSD from fantasy football, to be honest. When anytime I've had Son or Kane, they just get injured. So, and then the one time I don't have them, they get a hat trick. So.
The first North London derby, that's Spurs and Arsenal, by the way, Freya. That'll be quite interesting. That'll be quite interesting to watch. Obviously, the last one was quite one-sided with Arsenal. I think it was 3-0, wasn't it? And everyone was expecting Spurs to run out winners in that. But the first North London derby is at the Emirates on the 1st of October, so that'll be quite a good game.
I think what Conte brings to Spurs more than anything is just that fitness where Spurs can just keep going until after the game. They've just got this probably unlimited, well, not unlimited, but they could probably go for 2 games worth of football rather than other teams. So, they won't run out of gas.
No,
for the next,
I agree. Yeah, I agree. And I don't know if any of you watched it, but like Wolves, if they had a finisher like Jimenez is just coming back to fitness now, they just signed that new lad Nunes. I think it was his debut, and he came quite close with a header. But they were so good. But then I read a stat that surprised me that they've not won a game in 10 in the Premier League. So
I think Raul Jimenez has never really recovered from the horrific injury he got.
No,
obviously Neto and Podence haven't stepped up. Is Adama Traore even still there? He came back from Barca, didn't
he came on and just gave a few people nasty looks. And
I only saw the first half, and Wolves were the better team. I had to go out for the second half, so I missed it. But Wolves in the first half were quality, but I can't comment on the whole game because I didn't see it.
Even in the second half, I think Spurs had like 15 minutes at the start of the second half, and then weathered it, and then Wolves were the better team again, and they just need someone to put the ball in the net, basically.
I really like the middle 3 for Wolves. So Nunes, Neves, and Martinho. I thought they could play really good football, and they showed that. That's
a quality midfield right there. That midfield is miles better than what Liverpool have currently got, and probably a lot of Premier League clubs.
Better than United's.
That midfield is very, very impressive. Yeah. The problem is who's sticking the ball in the net, like you've all been saying.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Ruben Neves is still at Wolves. In truth, in terms of no other team's gone for him, but that's a quality midfield anyway.
I mean,
they managed to get Nunes under Man City and Liverpool's noses. They also got Nunes. So that anyone who's in the Portuguese league or who's Portuguese, it's basically like welcome to Wolves.
Yeah.
I don't know why they let Cody go, which is a bit of an odd one because he was their club captain, but. Everton's gain is Wolves' loss, but I I suppose he's the only one. You don't want a Scouser as captain when everyone else is speaking Portuguese because that's just a mixed match of communication, isn't it?
I think he is a Liverpool fan. I think he was a Liverpool fan, should I say?
I know he played for us, didn't he? He played as like the youth team.
Yeah. I don't think that ever really mattered because most Liverpool legends from the 90s were actually Evertonians growing up, but I don't think it really matters.
Rooney's an Everton fan as well. Just remember that.
Are you sure?
That was one of the only ones that was. Yeah, he definitely was. But I'm sure Robbie Fowler was an Evertonian. I think Steve McManaman was. But
I think Carragher was, wasn't he?
Carragher was.
Yeah. And Gerrard.
Carragher's dad was a massive Evertonian, wasn't he? Yeah, they always used to joke that Carragher had an Everton tattoo, but now he's a Liverpool legend. I think he's definitely in that Liverpool camp now.
Yeah, I don't really think it matters who you used to support when you've got millions of pounds put in front of you.
Yeah, and then when the team that you used to support and now play for your other team are giving you dogs abuse every time you play, and probably changes your mind.
The big example of that is Sterling. Sterling grew up a United fan. Has played for Liverpool, played for Man City, now plays for Chelsea. So it just proves there's no loyalty for each sport. I had this conversation with Phil.
But then it's a job at the end of the day, isn't it? If someone came to you at Tesco and said, "Oh, I'm from Aldi. I'll give you £25 an hour," you'd be like, "See you later, Tesco."
Later.
You think, "Oh, I've been here 15 years. I'll stay here."
You got. I mean, most of us as fans are like, "Oh, I'd never play for Man United because I'm a Liverpool fan." But if they offered you $200,000 a week or whatever, you'd be like, I think I could hide my hatred for a little bit extra dollar." Yeah,
exactly.
Like you said, I think you said before, there isn't much loyalty in football anymore. These one club legends, I think, was maybe a thing of the past now.
100%.
I think that era of football.
It's only loyalty in football past then because there wasn't any money to tempt them away. So maybe there wasn't ever loyalty. It just looks like there was loyalty, but that's me being cynical, I suppose.
Maybe, but I think football is much different now as well. The landscape changed. I think it might be a bit of both.
Yeah, a bit of both.
Yeah.
Well, Spurs next have got Newcastle away. And
that'll be a good game to watch.
Sorry, no, they've not. Read wrong.
That won't be a good game to watch if it doesn't happen.
Spurs are at Forest. That'll be a good game.
They've got them in the cup as well, isn't it? Forest, Nottingham, I think was I think it's at Forest. The Spurs.
I know they've had
Carabao. Yeah.
Oh, was it? Oh, right. And then Wolves are away to Newcastle Sunday. So another tough game. It could be 11 games without a win for them. Should we move on to the last game? So struggling Leicester. Penniless Leicester lost 2-1 at home to Southampton. They went 1-up, looked all rosy, and then Shadham's come off the bench and scored 2 good goals. And then we'll see the match.
No,
I didn't, but I do think that when you're talking before about first manager potentially sacked, I think that might have saved Hasenhüttl's job. Because I thought he was in trouble there.
I was
listening to
an interview from Brendan Rodgers this morning, and he just sounds like. Yeah, I can't do any more with these players.
Yeah.
He
just sounded dejected. Sold most of them.
Well, yeah.
Well, all of his potential best players are getting sold from underneath him, aren't they?
Look at Fofana.
There's rumours about Maddison, Tielemans, Vardy, who's now signing a new deal.
But I think Tielemans is out of contract
gone.
Next season.
Schmeichel's gone.
Schmeichel is the only one so far that has gone, but all their best players are being linked elsewhere. I think Maddison's signed a new deal as well, actually, now. But rather than getting people in, it's all about can they keep hold, which is never a good sign when you want to try and kick on and improve.
Well, Fofana's out of the picture anyway because he's now training with the under-23s, so he's basically won't be playing for Leicester unless something happens. I don't think.
So his head's been completely turned, and now he's not even.
Apparently, Chelsea going to put another offer of $75 million for him, which I think is absolutely ludicrous. But
it's mad. But
I don't.
Money
if someone had signed him for
$20
$20 million, I wouldn't even have batted an eyelid. So the fact that he could go for $75-80 million is crazy.
Well, I mean, Maguire did, to be fair. So Leicester always do well at centre backs going.
Tielemans.
That does seem
Maguire
a bit over the top.
Their best player, wasn't he? Arguably.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it wasn't 80 million. It was probably 50, and that was pushing it back then.
Well, even that.
Yeah.
But even Tielemans' contract runs out at the end of next year. So
I'll take Tielemans. I'll have him.
Oh, sorry, end of this year it runs out. So January, he can go on a free. Well, he can sign a free
I'd take Tielemans right now at Liverpool.
100%.
I think a lot of clubs would.
I would take Tielemans. I think he's quality. Very good player.
I know they were trying to get Maddison to sign a new contract, so I'm not sure if his contract is up anytime soon, but I don't think he'll be signing.
I think he has signed a new deal. I think he has signed, yeah.
How much did Newcastle try and offer? Was it 45 million?
No, it was more than that. It was over 50.
Bloody hell.
Just trying to.
That would have been a great pickup for Newcastle, though. But obviously, the fact he's signed a new deal means he's staying. But
I don't think he has signed a new deal. There's nothing in the news or anything. But
it's not. Maybe I was listening to the radio when I was on the way to a game on the weekend, and I thought he had signed. But they
were trying to get him to sit down and sign a new contract, but apparently he's refused, and his contract's up at the end of next year. So,
so
another one that could go.
All falling apart there. For them.
Yeah, just to give you an idea of what players earn. They were talking about it on the radio the other day. Fofana was sat on the bench, well, in the stand watching the game, and he was wearing this like Gucci jumper. And they like Googled the jumper, and the jumper was like $4,500, and that's the wages he's on now. So, what's he going to be wearing when he signs for Chelsea is like beyond me. But there we go, modern football.
Breaking news: millionaire wears expensive clothes.
Exactly. I just thought it was quite funny that they looked it up, but yeah. I think that's all the Premier League games now. Do you want to do a little bit on FPL, or obviously this is not my expertise?
Yeah, I'm happy to. If you want to, me and Falvey can.
Yeah. Just I don't know if you want to go through who's had a good week, like who are the better, the ones who got the most points, who you expected to do well and struggled. Have I?
Yeah, well, no, go on. I'll let you go first. I've done enough talking.
Where should we start anyway?
Well, I know everyone's sick of hearing it. I think I know everyone's sick of hearing it, but Arsenal are just any of their players are like good pickups. Really, obviously, Jesus is one of the most popular selections at the minute. Odegaard in the middle. Even like Saka, obviously Martinelli at the minute is your prime one that you want, but even Saka's not a bad shout. He had a good game, and Arsenal defence looks pretty good as well. So Zinchenko going forward, potential attacking points, and clean sheets as well. Big Ben
Saliba scored as well, didn't he? That mega one.
Yeah, Saliba scored, and I think Ben White looked alright. The only person I would say in that in that defence position, or the goalkeeper Ramsdale, basically, he's just there was some. I don't know if anyone watched the game, but there was a few moments where you just don't really know what you're doing, Ramsdale. Why are you trying to give the ball out here or make it just two mistakes? Did you watch it, George?
I didn't know, but I know Ramsdale.
I think I saw it from about the 5th minute. When I was coming, I came back. I was watching the tail end of the Michael O'Neill era at Stoke, so I missed a lot of football in between. Watching my own Dross football, I missed all the 3 o'clocks and everything. But from what I saw of Arsenal, it was impressive. But yeah, I see what you mean about Ramsdale. I think again, kind of feeding into that young team. I think he's maybe a bit too naive as a goalkeeper, but he's getting clean sheets, which is the main thing. And he's only 5 million in FPL.
Might have had a
Ramsdale. Yeah, Ramsdale's 5 million. Yeah. Falvey, what do you think of Saliba over Zinchenko?
I would rather Zinchenko as a FPL option. I think he offers more attacking returns, and I'd always go for a defender who offers more attacking returns. Obviously, I know he scored that worldie, but you have to look for things that are going to happen more frequently. And I think Zinchenko offers more stability for an attack, for the potential of attacking return.
I agree with that.
More than midfielder, doesn't he?
Yeah, I agree with that. The only reason you would go for Saliba really is he's only 10% selected over Zinchenko, so he's a bit of an outside option. And Zinchenko's obviously gone up to 5.2. whereas Saliba's only 4.6. So it's it's a pretty cheap option for a good defence. And I mean, even in the Palace game,
rising again tonight as well. By the way, so.
Right, so
I mean, or you foolishly go for neither of them two options, pay $5 million for Gabriel, and then have massive regrets. Oh, hi, that's me.
Falvey, what's your thoughts on Liverpool defenders at the minute? Because I'm seriously considering Trent coming out after the next two games. I'm going to see how the next two games go.
I'm glad you said next two games. I would definitely keep him for the Bournemouth game. Cause I feel like Bournemouth are the weakest team in the league currently. And
have you not seen Everton?
I reckon he just about beat Bournemouth.
There's no guarantee of anything right now, mate.
No, I reckon even though Liverpool have conceded first, I think I heard someone say 7 or 8 games in a row. I would potentially Bournemouth could score, but I would hold. I could understand selling one of them if you're on double, but I would hold if you only had one, like Trent. I would hold Trent at least for the Bournemouth game.
Yeah, I only went with the one. So yeah, I'm going to keep him definitely for the next two games. I'm glad I brought Rodrigo in. Obviously, 13 points, 2 bonus points. I don't know how he only got 2 and not 3, but assist, goal, clean sheet. Obviously, it's not really a game you'd think he would get all that in against Chelsea. So it was a bit of a not freak result, but I brought him in ahead of his next fixtures: the Brighton, Everton, Brentford, Forest. Those next 4, I think he's gonna get a few points over them.
I haven't got him yet. I want him, but I've seen quite a bit of stuff on the old Twitter. People saying that he's Brighton are a bit of a bogey team for Leeds.
Brighton's a tough game, yeah.
And I'm reluctant to make a transfer for my own team yet, so I feel like I won't get him in this week. I could see why you would. I don't think it's a bad choice if you already have.
I had to bring him in because Neto's done nothing, and I had the money at the time before his price went up, so I was like, Rodrigo's on form, so I'm bringing him in.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Definitely.
That's exactly what I did. Until I realised I didn't have enough money, so who did I take out? I think it was that. Oh, it was I downgraded Saka to. Well, I say downgrade. Obviously, it was an upgrade, but I took out Saka to Martinelli, so it freed up funds, and I could get rid of Andreas to Rodrigo. So it was a bit of a no-brainer, really.
Yeah,
the thing is, Saka's 8 million, isn't he? And considering Martinelli's 6, probably 6 and a bit now, but it just makes sense saving 2 million for a very similar player.
Yeah.
As good as Saka is, fantasy football wise, there's cheaper options at Arsenal.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so looking ahead then, the games you'd think, and again, I know I'm blowing smoke here for Arsenal, but they're at home. Again, there's something about them playing at the Etihad. They always seem to do really well, especially if you look at. I know it's only been 3 games, but Jesus away from home has got 4 points and 2 points. His first game, games away. Sorry, he got 4 points, 2 points, and Bournemouth and Palace. But then obviously their first game at home against Leicester got 19 points. So I'm not saying that's going to happen again, but these are the types of trends you want to look at. Is like, well, if he's struggling away from home, and you see that, but then they're coming up, they're in form, and they're coming up against the Fulham, you'd expect him to get a few points. I'm certainly not going to captain him. Falvey, who do you think you're going to captain this week?
Just loading up my teams here. Who I've got it on currently? I've forgotten. Mine's on Haaland currently, but I think if I did have Salah, because I'm without Salah now, I think if I had Salah, I'd be tempted to go with Salah.
I've gone Salah.
I've kept Salah surely at home versus Bournemouth. I mean, even against United, he did nothing apart from score. But against Bournemouth at home, you've got to back Salah if you've got him, surely.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you're not going to captain a guy who's like.
Is that George gone to the shadow realm again?
Sounds like
George, come back. Well, actually, there's one person we haven't really questioned here at the minute who's currently doing very well. Tom, who are you captain this week?
I'm keeping Haaland as captain because he'll get a hat trick eventually.
Just keep that captaincy there until that hat trick
I love that.
Yeah. I triple captained him on the first day, thinking he'd get a hat trick.
I saw
He got 2
that.
goals. There we go. Yeah. So yeah, there we go. So but I'm doing all right. I've got Saha in the team. I've got who the hell have I got? Odegaard, I think.
I'm level on points with you, Tom. I've got the same points as you.
You haven't.
Yeah, I've got.
No, Tom's doing well, Chris.
Go check. Go look. You'll see.
I've got Zinchenko for some reason.
Oh, yeah, you have as well.
My team's doing all right as well.
I got Gross, and I got Brennan Johnson as well, who I highly rate. So I'm doing all right. I'm doing good. It'll fall apart in the next few weeks, but I'm relishing being second in our league. The
only bit of advice I'd give you, Tom, is me personally. Just again, after the next 2 games, I'd look at changing Van Dijk or Trent if Liverpool keep conceding.
I think I have. I think I've taken Trent out and put Trippier in.
Could be a good shout.
Okay.
That could be all right, actually.
Yeah, so I think that's what I've done. It's not showing on yet, but pick team. There we go. I took out Van Dijk and Trent, and I put Saliba from Arsenal and Trippier in as well in defence. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm still backing the Liverpool lads. To be fair, I've got Trent, Robbo, Diaz, and Liverpool. Grand total of 2 points this week. I think long term, sure it'll pay out.
Well, the only other player that I'm sort of looking at the minute that I would kind of like to get in, but I'm not 100% on, is Saint Maxim, because again, obviously, just like how well he's because even in the games against Brighton and Forest, when he hasn't got any FPL points, he puts in a shift, doesn't he? And it's just like, again, when you see against like the City game where he puts in a shift and then he gets like the results from it, and they've got a little bit of a run as well after Liverpool.
Likely to sign that another target for him. So it'd be a great little sign. That it depends on guys that come in at, because that may. I think St. Max could well work out.
Yes, I agree.
You're in Milwaukee.
Anyway,
is it me now? Everybody's doing that.
No, it was
just everyone doing it.
Anyone else got anything else to add to that, or you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Really?
Yeah, I'd just say like again, people with Kevin De Bruyne, I'd always just be a bit wary as well with like City's rotation. That's the only reason I don't have him in. It's just Salah's just like nailed on, isn't it? So I don't see why you would risk.
I think Kevin De Bruyne surely is the only one that's rotation free. If he's fit, he's the best midfielder in world football, and he'll play. Haaland might get rotated a little bit more because he was in issues, and they got Alvarez behind him. But apart from Eden and Kevin De Bruyne, I'd say that anyone else potentially when European games come in get rotated. I think them two are solid.
I think as well. Sorry,
go on, Father.
I was just going to say, to back up what Johnson just said about Haaland getting rotated, I believe that's why he chose City over Madrid, because Pep promised to sort of protect him, as it were, in terms of not overplaying him for injury worries. And he's come out and said, hasn't he, in the last few days, that when it comes to City playing a game every 3 days, that he would very likely be resting in one of them.
And I agree with that, but I also think that's a risk De Bruyne runs as well. Because, if you're playing against Forest and, he's looking like in training that he's, he is a bit, he's a bit fatigued. I don't see why they would just put him on the bench for that game and, get to half time, they're 2-0 up. Well, we don't really need him on, do we? You've managed to rest him. It's just the thing thing City. It's just a thing City have, isn't it? You know, that option. So I'm always just a bit wary of that in fantasy football. And also, the number one rule in fantasy football is always have Salah. So
Yeah, it used to be.
So only
yeah,
three
well,
games.
maybe that's where you are now.
I think
Go on, CB.
Yeah,
he's not been amazing this season, yet he's still been scoring goals. That's all you can say about Mo Salah. Is as quiet as he's been, he's still popping up with goals.
This is like that in most games he has. He's not always amazing, but he scores, and then he's amazing and scores amazing goals as well. So it's always worth having him just for the goals. He just scores goals.
So just to round this off, well, just to round this off then, just so we can keep track of it then. I'm on 189. Tom is on 183. Chris is also Base Girdle is also 183. Johnson's on 179. Falvey is on 155 because he's not taking the game seriously. Doyle is on.
Falvey dominated fantasy football for so long, and as soon as we start, he's like, "Nah, I'll do a bit of a Herbie from the back and catch up."
Yeah, at the minute it's basically what it's like the Liverpool situation. It's like you expect him to win, but he started off badly, so everyone's questioning his
This is a bit of a. Tom doesn't actually know this. I wasn't actually going to tell him until the end of the season.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I got.
I'm quiet. What?
I am your father.
No, I got Grace and Emily to pick a team, and the premise was that I thought that even they could beat you based upon
oh my god,
just picking players that they like the colour of the kits or they like their names, that sort of thing. And in fairness,
cheers, mate.
Sorry. In fairness,
Ray on FC versus Tom.
You're beating them currently, but they're actually beating me currently.
Tom has you.
Captain. 2 points ahead of me.
How the tables have turned. Even your kid's doing better than you. That's an embarrassment, that, mate.
2 points ahead of me.
Give them the Paddy Power app on their phones. They'll do fine.
Yeah, I'm not.
Are they going to make transfers though? That's the thing.
Well, Stacey's got involved now to sort of help them a little bit.
They should be like, Rodriguez doing really well. Maybe we should make this choice.
And can we all just take a second?
Before do I go? I could go
it's
in the
not
bank. I
just
need
wrong.
to this guy.
Can we all just take a second to just appreciate that Falvey was willing to have a joke running the entire season, which also had a break for the World Cup, just to come to the end and go, "Hey Tom, just to let you know, this 18-month joke or whatever, how long it is. My kids are better at fantasy football."
And he 100% wouldn't have mentioned it if they'd have lost.
Yeah, 100%.
But I'll do it again next year until they win.
The great thing is that should make Tom play all year to prove a point that he's better than him.
Yeah.
There's no switching off now. There's no. I'm gonna pick teams just based on people beginning with a letter R.
Burn your kids.
Well, last year I did double-barreled names.
What?
Everyone with a double-barreled name was in my team.
And the season
Remember
before.
Saka?
It could be worse. You've just been accused of being stacked and you're gonna some kids.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's it for fantasy football anyway. So,
Well, we'll leave it there then. Thanks, you guys, for taking part. I think it was quite successful.
We'll call it quits when we talk about burning children. There, let's move on.
Yeah. Yeah. That's children not listening to us ever again. And no one swore.
So we ruled
that's
out
quite
a
good.
lot in the world, haven't we?
Well, yeah, we shan't go there, but
Yeah, let's not mention it.
going forward, I think we're going to try and do this once a week. We're not going to try and stick to a structure, just chat as mates. We're going to have a loose structure, but I'm going to try and make it more streamlined and not chat rubbish. But yeah, going forward, we'll try and do one a week. And yeah, thanks for joining us if anyone listens.
hey, Fel, wasn't that your nickname in high school?
What?
Loose structure.
What?
I had to ruin it at the end, sorry.